So I want the players to just see the bravery of doing something really creative and doing the 1-against-1 and going directly against the goal. And then we deal with the consequences. You don't need to be successful, but you need to be brave. I'm not a coach who doesn't think the players should do everything right all the time. I just make sure that they are brave to make sure they can handle the consequences.
Now on the Epicenter of Women's Sports podcast, the coach who wants to take the Portland Thorns back to the next championship. Today I get to sit down with new head coach Robert Vilahamn, who's been in Portland for like less than 24 hours, and he made time for us. So we get to really know him and what he's really about and his hopes for this team. Hope you like it.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. Mig, 1 for 1, hey? I should be opening it for you. Loyalty here.
Oh, it's raining. First time, right?
So, beginning of season 2, we have quite a conversation with you. We have our new head coach who just came off a win against Washington. Booyah! We're so happy about that. First time coaching here in the NWSL. First win, 1 for 1. But today we're just having a conversation. Get to know you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
I'm so pumped to spend time with you. First of all, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Have
Definitely.
you had your first cup of coffee in Portland yet?
I've had, yes.
And
Amazing.
where did you go? Don't say that you went to Starbucks.
No. I went around the corner, actually, when I was here for my interview. So I went around the corner like this local, really nice one.
Okay.
I don't remember the name. That was
Okay.
really
So
cool.
we'll take you to the spot here because you know coffee's a big deal here.
I know.
Okay. What else have you figured out about Portland?
A lot of breweries, locally breweries. So if you want to have a beer, you can actually have one.
Are you beer or wine?
Both.
Okay.
So
So you're in a good spot.
I'm in a good spot, but also it feels like there's a lot of passion and culture in this city. It kind of feels like it's quite unique, to be honest. Yeah.
Tell us what you feel because not only you're coming from a different part of the country, you're a different part of the world. In the 24 hours you've been here?
But I think it's similar to Sweden in a way where we have the rain, we have the fall, you have the winter, you have everything, right? So that's one
You
thing.
see these? There's rose.
There's roses
It's
instead
Rose
of...
City on
Yeah,
everything.
we only see... I don't really get why you call... I've tried to Google why you call it the City of Roses, but I don't really get the answer.
For those of people who've Wikipedia'd and everything, they'll say, okay, you're a coach, you're a father, but who is Robert?
Who is Rob? I'm this local Swedish boy from the West Coast who has a beautiful wife and 2 twin kids and just love to be and meet new people.
Yeah.
And football is the way for me to do that. But I'm more of a fan to meet people and culture and be a leader than coaching football.
When you talk about being a leader, obviously I've seen a lot of your amazing work beyond that, and we'll get into it. But what's been a defining moment for you in your life that's made you who you are today?
When I got twins, 1 boy and 1 girl, and I kind of realized that it was so different depending on who they are and the gender they have.
Yeah.
And I was at the university studying about gender equity. So it was kind of like, okay, I need to find a pathway where I can do some kind of good pathway. And I think that the women's football came into my life in the same period of time. So it kind of felt like it's a bigger purpose than only be a leader and only winning football games. So I think it's the passion I have.
So most people actually forget that for you as a head coach, you're walking into meeting the players for the first time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a gazillion things going through your mind, right?
Yeah.
And then for the players, they're like, okay, it's our head coach. What was actually going through your mind when you actually opened the door to walk in to this group of players?
I mean, I know that the first impression is obviously, it's an important way to start a relationship together with everybody. So I think it was more like just to be, who am I? Yeah, I want to meet everybody. I want to get to know everyone. That's the most important thing for me. So go and say hi to everybody individually. And then you have a moment there where you can actually say something where they're going to listen to you.
Yeah.
So you're always going to use those moments. I spoke about my key values, my 4 key values. So I hope they will remember that, but I'm going to reconnect tomorrow. But that's the main thing for me. So not tactics, actually key values, what we're going to believe in, basically.
And what were your 4 key values?
So be professional, be present, show passion, and be brave.
Woo!
So I think that connects to what you're doing in this city and where we want to connect with the fans and everything. And that should be in the DNA how we play as well. So it's not only like football, it's actually the passion of representing something bigger. So
would you consider yourself a motivator or a tactician?
a motivator.
And that would have been hard because
Yeah.
I can tell right now you're a connector.
Yeah.
So how did you find that balance?
I find it from the group. So in the last preparation for the game, I start asking them what's going to happen today. So in small groups they were discussing, and then it's like then the groups needed to say what can we expect at this stadium, because I've not been there and a few players have not been there. So involving them to make sure that to find the leaders in this group as well, and to make sure Shai was the captain this game, and she had the last speech as well before we went out. So using the group instead of me, because I'm a connector, but I'm not need to be the leader. I need to make sure that we come together. So
Smart.
Yeah, so that's kind of my philosophy, to try to find the leaders in the group to make sure I can be a good leader for them, so they can be good leaders for the rest.
So smart, because I think a lot of people would have come in and be like, hey, I need to be that presence.
Yeah, no.
But
I'm present, but I don't need to be present. They need to be present because they are the ones going to perform. So.
And then at the end of the game, we saw the huddle.
Yeah.
And you had a few words. What did you say then?
That I was speechless because I felt they were doing it so good, and everybody came in with a good energy. So I kind of just said, I'm speechless. It was a great start, but Shai take us away, and then we congrat Morgan for the clean sheet and the view and everything. But I was kind of speechless because I was so tired. I was like, now I'm really, because it was 5 a.m. in Sweden, so I was kind of awake for, I'm not sure how many hours.
You had jet lag, you hadn't slept, you took flights, your flights got delayed.
Yeah.
You come back here, within 24 hours, you find time for this conversation. Thank you.
No worries.
And now you're in Portland.
Yeah.
What is that? Because, you know, I've read everything where you say, like, it's about the fans. It's about coming to the NWSL.
Yeah.
But now you're here jet lagged.
Yeah.
What's the feelings going through you right now?
It's a little bit strange because you arrive with 3 suitcases basically, right? And then you're actually not traveling, you're moving here. So when I, came to the hotel this morning, yesterday, I was like, okay, I'm actually moving. I'm not coming as a visitor. So I need to find my own place. I need to get to know this city as well, because I want to represent this city and this club. And but we still need to train tomorrow. We need to have, so it's kind of in my head now. I need to prioritize what kind of things we need to do first, and then second, and then third, and still be connected with my family because they're staying for a while before they come over as well. So, but I have a really nice feeling about exploring an amazing club state. It feels like it's so much to do here as well, and I'm really curious about that.
You're coming at a good time because it's just about to get the cherry blossoms and everything.
Yeah.
And then we go to literally the rivalry game. It's like, hi, now you get to be on that touchline. And like I said to you, I remember playing my first game in Providence Park.
Yeah.
It's electrifying. It's like one of those things as an athlete you dream of. But now as a coach, in the press conference, you said, this is one of the reasons you came to the NWSL.
Yeah.
You're literally going to be in the touchline in the biggest rivalry of all time. Like the adrenaline rush and all those things are going to be there. But fast forward, if you've had a chance to think of that moment and what it's going to mean and feel like for you to be on the touchline with this team.
I think for me, when you get these big games for the club, and not for me, because it becomes a good big club, a big game for me as well. But I've done a few of those in Sweden and in England between this rivalry, and you can feel it for the fans, and you're playing for the fans. And I also won those games one time in London and one time in Sweden. And I just know how much it means for the people. And for me, getting this chance to actually be a part of that, because there's not too many stages you can get that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now the women's game is growing so much, but it's not too many women's games that can have this kind of electrifier. So I think it's quite unique, and I'm very thankful for that. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm also going to make sure we do everything we can to get a good result as well.
It's the balance of enjoying and being present as one of your 4 pillars. So talk us through, when our fans see our team, how will they know that this is the Robert stamp on the Portland Thorns?
I think when they are making the loud voices, that's what we're going to look for in our way we're playing. So when they're getting louder, we're going to do more of that. And that can be the transitions. That can be the one when we break lines and go for the attacks. That can be when we win the ball back in some really good moments. So we're going to make sure we create an identity and a way of playing where we know when they feel like they are really, really passionate with us as well. So that should be something we have in our DNA to make sure that we do that. But obviously, I know the history. They won a lot. So we need to find ways to win. So we need to make sure we are educated footballers who can manage a game, because you cannot only do that. You need to be very street smart in a game where you can have a low block for a while because you're going to win the game. That's the most important thing for everybody. But with that, we're going to grow an identity to play with them. That's the key here, to make sure we play with the fans and using the fans, because I know the history here. They're winning a lot of home games, so we're gonna make sure we keep doing that.
Well, now we won on the road too against Washington, which we hadn't had success on. When the team, like looking at the game, the transition is key in NWSL. When the team is in transition, what's the one word to describe how you want the players to think and feel?
Then you connect to the bravery. So I want the players to just see the bravery of doing something really creative and doing the 1-against-1 and going directly against the goal. And then we deal with the consequences. You don't need to be successful, but you need to be brave, because we have a plan if you're not succeeding, because we still want to be brave, and then we can win the ball back quickly. So we want to see players that take the space and are direct to make sure we can create those really good moments. So Olivia Moultrie, when you see her taking those chances, it's because she's probably one of the coolest players in this league, right? And I think her bravery will be even more important for us, because she can probably impact other players to dare to do that. And I'm not a coach who doesn't think the players should do everything right all the time. I just make sure that they are brave to make sure they can handle their consequences as well.
When you think about bravery, when you think about we have the youngest team in the NWSL right now, and you think about the Sophia Smiths, the Olivia Moultries, how do you step in and ignite and unlock that potential with this team right now?
I think the key for me is to make sure we get a structure, and that we are like a good structure and clarity how we're going to play, but give them a platform to be free. So I think some of the players need to feel like they are free to play, because then they can actually be that kind of place, Olivia and Sophia. So make sure that the structure around them is really good, and some of the players need to be more structure around them to do the work. I think Jessie Fleming was doing an amazing game against Washington with running almost 12K, and she covering everything and so good on the ball. I think that's necessary for Olivia to have the freedom. Without Jessie, she cannot do that. So finding the right balance in the starting 11. And bravery, look at Morgan doing the first game. As a goalkeeper in the build-up to actually be that brave. And I think, encourage her to do that, but also be an alternative and make sure we push her. So they have it, and they're going to be even more brave soon.
I mean, bravery, you talk about Reina Reyes, like the way she shut down Trinity Rodman, the leadership of Obeys, like in front of, like with Sam. Like the bravery that's there, because I feel like that game set the tone for the team in a way that was absolutely brave. Now you come home, and how do you help this team that's young not look too far ahead, but stay focused on what the next task is?
The thing is with being present is that you don't really have time to look too much forward. So tomorrow in training, we need to focus on, actually now I can, go through a little bit more game model and structure. So being present and working where we are, and make sure we are doing everything we can every training session, and then the game comes, and then that should be kind of a receipt on what you did in the training week. So for me, it's hard work every day to make sure we stay present, and then when the game comes, then we're present in that game. So we're going to play a big game, but that's on Friday. So now we're actually going to focus on Monday, and those principles we're going to go through that game, and those details we're going to go through. So that's my key, to make sure I'm going to hear, I'm not speaking about anything than with you today. And I think that's the necessary for the players to know that hard work is what's going to take you forward.
So let's have our, you already had sip?
I had a sip, sorry.
See, this is a heart and rose and all that. Cheers to Portland. Everyone's going to care how you feel it tastes, really. No one's caring about me.
It's good. It's really good.
How would your players describe you as a coach?
It's a good question. There is always a different variety if you are the player that play 90 minutes every game, if it's so on. But if you're going to summarize Robert as a coach, I think most of the players I've had would say that I'm quite humble and nice guy who is actually, trying to see them and make sure I can be social and that one. But then when we switch on and it's a game mode, I can also be very passionate and make sure of that. So I hope that everybody say that I respect that coach. He's a very, good person. Yeah. But he's also very professional in the way he coaches and the passion he has.
I got to go to you as a person, because when I was doing my reading on you, you've done work in Uganda with an academy. You've done Gig Nation, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
In Sweden. And for me, purpose is everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm a purpose-driven human being. And in life, it's not like you just have one purpose. It almost changes from you being a father of twins to all these things. How is all of those lessons? And I think, tell our fans about the work that you've done that has driven you beyond just soccer and wins. Like, help them understand you and why you went to Uganda, why these different platforms have been so important to you.
I think for me, it's about energy in life, to make sure that if you can give stuff, you actually get something back. I think it's more fun to give somebody a gift than getting a gift. And when I went to Africa, it was because I'm a teacher, so we were there for the university for 3 weeks, and I met all these amazing, schools and kids that were playing with, some kind of stuff to try to play football. And I was, a coach in Sweden, and I used to know we had so much equipment everywhere. So then I just felt like, no, I want to make sure I start something to do a purpose. So I just started, collect a lot of footballs and dresses, and then I went there back and forth a few times a year. And what I got was happiness, enjoy. I was, meeting the new culture. There was everybody was happy. And it was so easy because it didn't cost me anything more than the flight tickets. And then it started to grow, and more people wanted to be involved. And then I brought ever more people there, and then we kind of invested more to make sure they also can have trained coaches and get more, educated players there. So it was never ever to do anything to earn money, and it was just to be kind, basically. So just that my biggest motto in life is to be kind, basically. So
it's interesting because you drop a football anywhere in the world, and it brings a community together, and it ignites something in people that they just don't see.
Yeah.
What from those trips, you said you went, you spent the time and they were using plastic to make balls. What from that did you take with you that maybe on your worst day, you're like, you know what, to simplify it to the players, here's the story.
I think for me, it's not the way where it's actually a little bit like I actually feel much better about myself when I do it because I get energy. So when people say like, how do you have time with everything? But for me, that's my happy place. When I go there, even if I'm stressed or, if something's going on in my life, I get so much joy and happiness for that. So it gives me the energy I need to keep going.
Yeah.
And now kind of, it was just the other day, I transferred some money to the principal again to buy new footballs. And it just makes me a pleasure when I see the photo that he bought the new footballs. Like, okay, now I'm supporting someone else, even if, I cannot be there right now. And that's kind of just, it's kind of tricking the system a little bit. Understand that you actually do it for yourself, but you do it for somebody else, and then you get the energy to be having the energy today and so on. So finding those key moments to get the energy, to give energy.
It gives you, because life's about showing up, and when you show up for people like that, and they just, it's just thank you for seeing me.
Yeah, and one thing with that is also that it's only success, because I can lose games in football, I can lose my job and everything, but that thing is the only thing I can control with just the pure joy. I know that it's always going to be successful because I'm just doing stuff that I'm, so that's actually good to have in your life as well, because you know how it is in this business, winning and losing and everything. So that's really nice.
You know what you're going to find in Portland is that our fan base, they show up for the players like that. And I think that's what's so special, is that they don't just show up and clap. It's like, it means something. Like, this team inspires them on a day-to-day. So I think you're really going to connect with our fans like this. What have you learned from your children? Because having twins is a whole different ballgame. But what have you learned from your children over the years that is like so near and dear to you?
I think that when you raise kids, I think you know that you're going to have demands on them. You're going to make sure you coach them through life. And I think to do that, you need to show them love and support as well. And I think learning from those two that are so different. So you have twins, they are kind of, they are there, but they are so different. And I cannot do the same thing with both of them. So what I'm actually learning is to really see you as you and her as her, to make sure that I treat them in a different way, because it's impossible to do the same way, even if I have twins. And that's kind of, I didn't expect that. I kind of just like being a dad should be like, this is the thing you do, but it's not like that. It's actually something more important. It's actually to get to know them and their habits and everything, to make sure you can be a good dad for them. So, and I use that in my leadership as well, but that's the thing. And then you get the importance in life, which is losing or whatever. You're going to be upset for 24 hours, but you're always going to have them, and that's the main thing, right? So
how would they describe Dad?
I think they would say that I'm the kindest person in the world.
Oh, yeah, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Are they your why?
My why?
Yeah.
Definitely my why. Yeah.
Why is that?
Because there's the biggest reason in my life to actually have a purpose. That's like to see them grow older and do everything. So it's a little bit tough to be away from them a few months now, but it's also quite good, because feelings, you when you get those feelings, you also get the why. You get the reason that why it is like that. But it's also good sometimes to actually miss each other. So,
what is Robert's legacy?
To be kind is my legacy. I'm always going to make sure that I'm treating people in a good way.
You get to coach a woman who's coming back from pregnancy. And, Sophia Smith's not just any,
No.
the world is watching her.
Yeah.
She's well-grounded. She's mom to Gigi. What excites you most about that?
I think my first thing I said to her in the meeting was that I'm very inspired that she actually get a kid that early. I think that's something good for the women's game, to make sure you can do that and actually come back and that's normal, and that should be the case, but that we should have it all the time. So I'm very inspired to actually coach her, and I think she's, it's quite incredible what you've done. But also to make sure that I want to push her to get even better than before. So I think for me, it's just inspirationally to coach one of the best players in the world with that kind of presence that she have now. And I think also she's gonna shine even more now when she have a bigger purpose in life with her wonderful little daughter as well. So, but for me, now I'm at this stage, I coach in the best place in the world, and I'm so happy with that. And I mean, she's obviously top.
You go to Liv, who everyone thinks she's just a kid growing up, but then you're literally seeing her evolve right in front of your face, right? And she has this confidence about herself. It's like you look at the different dynamics. What excites you about coaching somebody like Liv?
Liv is one of those players that you love to coach because of the passion she has. So much emotions, so much stuff going on, but also the quality that she has and the mindset. And I think for me, I've had a few of those mindsets. So Grace Clinton was in England, Rosa Kafaji in Sweden. They are quite similar in the way where they are creative, really cool people that want to express themselves with the football. And I think for me, that suits the way I want to coach as well. You cannot have the whole roster with those kind of players, but you need a few of them to make sure that you get the balance in the room. And Liv is so experienced, even if she's so young. So it's quite unique, actually.
That competitive edge.
Yeah, I love it, and it feels very American, actually. Yeah.
Yes. What are your non-negotiables?
I mean, the be professional is the non-negotiable. You need to turn up at the training ground. You need to make sure you're on time. You need to make sure you do everything you can to be professional, because otherwise you're wasting my time and it's hard to actually follow the script. So I think you need to make sure you do everything you can control in that. Then you don't need to have a success on pitch. You don't need to do the right pass, but you need to make sure you do everything you can to approach the thing we have here in football. But also in life, I think it's more like how you treat each other and how you are respectful to each other as well. I think you need to make sure you try to treat people as good as you can and not being mean or cruel to people. Because you cannot always be happy, but those days when you have a bad day, then someone else will pick you up, right? So you need that energy.
Some of the best coaches I've ever had were coaches that helped me see who I was, not just as a footballer, but as a human being.
Yeah.
What part of your life do you pull from to help these players evolve into these powerful, phenomenal women who are not just football players?
I think for me, as I actually worked as a teacher for a few years, and when you're gonna teach students volleyball, basketball, you always have 5, 6, 7, 8 who doesn't like what you're gonna do, and then you realize that everybody's so different. So you cannot have the same lesson plan, you cannot have the same approach. And then when you bring that to your leadership, then you realize I'm quite keen on leadership flexibility. So you have the core values that I work with, but then you need to make sure I get to know each player so I can be individually good to you. And that means that I need to know what you actually like and not like. So one of my questions for all the players was, how can I be a good coach for you? What do you need from me to make sure I can be a good coach for you? And I need to know if you are extrovert, introvert, if you want to make sure you get feedback here and there. And I get to know you now. I kind of know when not to give you feedback. Yeah, you're shy. But I think if I know a little bit more about you, I can also be much more using my experience as a leader to make sure I can reach you in the right level. And sometimes a player shouldn't get feedback in the moment because I know they cannot handle it. I have a daughter who is very much in the moment, not reachable with communication, and then if I do it, it's become a conflict. And then it's better to wait a little bit till she's getting calmer, and then I can reach her later on. While my son is direct feedback and he loves that. So that's the same with the players. I need to know who wants what so I can give them that, but the core values need to be there and at all time for everybody.
What about this opportunity excites you the most out of everything?
I think it's the mixture of basically it's 3 things. It's a team that can win. I really want to win. I've been in a few finals.
We want you to win.
Yeah, I really want to win. But I also want to win and entertain.
Yeah.
And you have people to entertain here. It's a massive. But the third thing is actually something we haven't spoken about. Is I'm all for development. I just want to get better. I just want to make sure everybody gets better. And the new training facility we're building, the investments from the owners, is kind of like you get a jackpot here because you get all the three things that he can do. So that's why it excites me so much to actually have a home where you can develop the players and myself and entertain the fans and hopefully win the title.
Let's talk about the Epicenter, because yes, we are doing it differently with the ownership group that has both WNBA and NWSL, a practice facility where I think where I talk about, like when you walk into the cafeteria, it'll be like an Olympic village where you get to sit down and break bread, and it's those 1%, and just being around other athletes. And then we have the performance center, which again, you're going to have the best of the best doing, like just in that facility alone, we'll do things that's never been done before. Why was that attractive to you?
Because I know how it is to be in not that kind of environments and not getting the right opportunity for the players. But the main thing here is there's something unique here. You're actually going to get that extra dimension that you don't really have had before. And I think that can actually be something that we don't really have spoken about before. Imagine sitting down and speaking with a basketball coach about stuff that you can learn from him or her, and then you get the opposite. And also the togetherness where you go and look at their games and you get that kind of experience as well. And I think building that kind of dynamic. So if you have a bad game and they win in that game, then you can ride on their wave and then you can share those wins as well. I think you can get a really good togetherness with that.
It's going to be something that no one else gets. Okay. A year from now, or at the end of the season, you and I sit down and, well, you like wine and beer. So we'll have a nice glass of wine and beer. I'll get to pick.
Yeah.
What are we saying that you're proud of?
I think the main thing I hope is that we are connecting with the fans and playing that kind of style that I feel like we are doing everything we can to try to win for them. It's really hard to say that we're gonna win because you never know in the football. So I hope that we have won, so we can sit here and be proud of that. But I also want to make sure we are on a journey, so make sure that even if we are winning or losing this year, that we are feeling like we are really excited for the future.
Yeah.
So I want to sit here and say this season was something really special, and you can tell how we connect with the fans, and we are competing, and we're going to have a long success together for the future. So that's kind of like not only like we need to win this season, because I think it's more important that we are also growing something for the long run and make sure we can compete for many years.
Let's do that. All right, I'm going to ask you some fun questions. So since you're Swedish, we're going to start with Swedish meatballs or Swedish fish? And is that just meatballs and fish to you?
I mean, Swedish meatballs, obviously, is Swedish meatballs. Swedish fish I never heard about.
Oh, no,
we have a lot of fish.
We're going to have to get him some Swedish fish. It's the red gummy like candy.
Ah, you mean those? Okay, yeah.
It actually says Swedish fish.
Yeah, that's true though. We don't speak about it that way.
No. See, in Sweden, they have like candy places that you go and you spend hours.
Because we have like thousands of flavors and stuff, so that's only one of them.
I know, and I literally would spend hours in there.
Yeah.
Are you text, call, or WhatsApp?
WhatsApp.
Is it voice note or type?
I'm typing.
Okay.
People can do that, but I would never ever do that.
Okay, you're going to get WhatsApp voice notes from me. Favorite quote?
What you do in life echoes in eternity.
Ask for permission or beg for forgiveness?
That's a hard one. I think I'm still want to do the correct ways. I will probably ask for approval first.
What is like your hype song when you're feeling good and you just got your music on? You said Coldplay. What's the song?
Right now it's Yellow.
Okay, how's that go? Sing it?
No, I don't sing. But you don't get hyped by it. You get calm by it.
Okay. Who would you rather go up against, a giant cockroach or a mini hippopotamus?
I mean a hippo.
Why?
They should be so cute too.
Why can't we tickle ourselves?
Because it's not fun.
All right. I think that is it. I think one of the things is I genuinely, like, this club means a lot to a lot of people. And the impression I've gotten from you, obviously from via Zoom, but like in person, is that you really care.
Yeah.
And in Portland, people just want to know that you really care. And I think you're going to just be successful. You started off well, and I'm here.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Robert, everybody. Wasn't that interesting? I mean, he opened up about family, his pillars, bravery, how he wants us to feel as fans in the stadium when we're watching the team play. What a wonderful conversation. And yes, winning is important, but we also got to understand his purpose, his big ideology of the importance of the game in Uganda. From Uganda to Portland, at the end of the day, it's about impacting the fans. It's about impacting people. And hopefully by the end of the season, we see how Robert impacts our city for the better. Can't wait to have more conversations with him. That was awesome. Hope you enjoyed it.